Now, join us on the program right now, Alan Corwin from gunlaws.com. How you doing, Alan?
I'm doing great, Cameron. Nice to have a weekend in front of me.
Yeah, I know. It's this has been a long week. I don't know why it. I guess just so much news happening all week long. But you had an interesting post up at AmmoLand the other day talking about this executive order that President Obama has signed. This new reporting requirement for federally licensed firearms dealers in California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, who should be getting their demand letters in the mail at some point in the near future, requiring them to begin reporting to BATFE anytime somebody buys more than one long rifle, 22 caliber or greater, that's got a detachable magazine. Within a 5-day period, they now need to report that to the ATF. You say it is not legal for President Obama to issue this order.
Well, Cam, as usual, you're going to have the first word in the country on this issue. The president, despite enormous publicity, did not sign an executive order. And the BATFE, one of the few federal agencies with 5 letters in their acronym, and they hate that, and they prefer to be called ATF, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, which ought to be a convenience store. The ATF does not have a regulation for this. The rumor, the statement of the Deputy Attorney General, James Cole, says that they're going to do this, but they have not done it. It would be illegal to do. That news has spread all over. I was one of the people who got it out there. The news you got was from Page 9, my blog. And are you ready for this? There is no legal justification in any way, shape, or form to do this. A registry of long guns is illegal under the 1986 Firearm Owners Protection Act, and implementing statutory law without an act of Congress is tyranny. That's the word for it. The idea that the president would attempt, or that he would instruct ATF or allow ATF to attempt to enact a law without Congress is absolutely abhorrent to the American system. We do have multiple reporting requirements on handguns. That was passed by both houses of Congress and signed by the president. We changed that to allow reporting to local authorities as well as federal authorities, and that took an act of Congress. It was called the Brady Bill. Maybe you've heard of it. And now he wants to enact reporting of multiple sales of long guns with a few little restrictions by fiat, by decree. He does not want open debate in both houses, a bill, and a signature. And he knows he couldn't get that through Congress, and it's stunning that he's attempting to do so, and the only documentation out there is this publicity statement by the Deputy Attorney General. They're all hiding behind it.
Yeah, and in fact, we've seen a number of op-eds, including, in places like the Washington Post, New York Times, the usual suspects, who are bleating the standard line that, look, this is not a big deal. This is a minor imposition. This isn't going to impact anybody's Second Amendment rights. They will talk about everything, Alan, except the fact that the Obama administration can't legally do this.
And that's the way they operate, and this is tyrannical, and this is going too far. Now, I debated two liberals on TV recently, and I said to them, it doesn't matter that this issue is firearms. How can you support enactment of statutory law without Congress and just let the president do what he pleases? And the woman who's the head of the anti-gun rights movement in Arizona, where I am, said, well, Congress is so slow, and it takes so much time, and it's so hard to do, and we need this so bad. And I said, are you crazy? You want to enact statute without due process? That's the destruction of the fabric of America. And she just looked at me like, what are you, crazy? You want to have guns and we're trying to get rid of them and you're getting in the way? I mean, I kicked her butt in this debate. But they would allow an abrogation of due process and constitutional law in order to get their way, and that's what Mr. Obama seems to be doing, and he doesn't have the power.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't have the power to do a lot of the things he's done.
Well, absolutely, and until you try to stop him, he'll keep pushing. NRA has said that they will file a lawsuit as soon as the demand letters go out. They're already letting FFLs know if you get a letter from BATFE requiring you to report the multiple sales, and if you've conducted these sales in the past and think that the letter that you get requires you to report them to BATFE, contact NRA ILA's Office of Legislative Counsel at 703-267-1161 because they want to put a stop to this.
But the NRA hasn't gotten any calls because, and I just set up a gun show today, the big Crossroads of the West gun show, which I'll be at all weekend. None of the dealers got letters. This is like a rumor. The pushback has been so strong that they're afraid to do it. And I have the whole thing spelled out on my website at gunlaws.com. Everything the ATF has done from the beginning of Gun Runner all the way up through Fast and Furious, they want us to report who's buying rifles to the people smuggling the rifles into Mexico. It's unbelievable.
I know.
They've smuggled almost 2,000 rifles out of Arizona, 1,000 out of Tampa, right into the hands of the cartel. They're padding the numbers because the president was announcing and promoting and bragging that 90% of the guns come from our stores, and it was a complete lie. He got caught in it. ATF got caught in it. They promised the dealers that they wouldn't be held up as scapegoats, and then they said, look at these bad apple dealer scapegoats. And the dealers wisely had informed DOJ, Department of Justice, and their lawyers that we're being forced to sell guns to obvious straw buyers to load Mexico with American guns. And Obama's standing there saying, we need more gun control because we got bad gun dealers, and he's running the program. The big question is, will they just fire the head of ATF, or will they fire the people or be able to get to the people behind this, which is Eric Holder, the Attorney General, and his boss, the President, or the guy in the White House?
Mm-hmm. Well, look, I think it's it's pretty evident that if they think that they can just dismiss Ken Melson and the story's going to go away, that's not going to happen. I mean, we have email evidence showing that DOJ officials were heavily involved. When we talked with Representative Issa earlier this week, he made it very clear that it appears this lack of communication between DEA, FBI, and ATF on Fast and Furious, that there was a roadblock set up at DOJ by Obama political appointees that prevented these agencies from talking to one another.
That's right. A roadblock, and when the agents stood up and said, we're shipping guns to the Mexican cartels, they were told to stand down. It stinks to high heaven. We got Senator Grassley, we got Congressman Issa, who are looking into it and holding these people's feet to the fire. We are not going to allow this to happen. It's a back way to separate us from our right to keep and bear arms. We're not going to accept it. The ATF has to be, what's a good word without cursing here? the ATF has to be disemboweled. They need business cards, not badges. They need to be turned into bureaucrats and let them do their little thing. I certainly don't want to turn these responsibilities over to the FBI and get very efficient about it. The ATF is a rogue agency. They've done all kinds of horrific things, and now they're smuggling guns to Mexico and claiming that we have to have more gun control laws, and their Democrat cronies in the Congress are saying we need more gun control laws because the ATF is smuggling guns.
Yeah.
For Pete's sake, that's illegal.
No kidding. Hey, listen, Alan, glad you could join us on the program tonight, sir. It's always a real pleasure catching up with you.
A pleasure with me, too, and I'm going back to my barbecue. I have a gun show tomorrow, and this is my weekend.
All right. Enjoy yourself, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much.
Alan Corwin from gunlaws.com.